You're obviously not aware of this, but blessed is not a word that the global majority thinks of in association with Europeans. Words like plague and colonizer, maybe, but not blessed. And the cell phone in my hand came from China. So I don't know if you're referencing Steve Jobs or Martin Cooper or the Finnish inventor who created the first pocket-sized telecommunication device in 1917, and you probably don't know either because your education system has left you terribly ignorant and without the critical thinking skills necessary to effectively gather information. Because you believe that most great inventions can be attributed to one white person, as opposed to recognizing that the patent system is how white people colonize intellectual property. We would not have cell phones if it wasn't for the creation of the gamma electrical cell by black inventor Henry T. Sampson. And most of our cell phones would not have microphones in them if it wasn't for the particular microphone that was created by black inventor James Edward West. The creation of the first digital network, 1G, was launched in Japan, and then black electrical engineer Jesse Russell pioneered the creation of 2G, which launched in Finland first. 3G launched in Japan, 4G launched in Norway, 5G launched in South Korea, and 30% of the world's cell phones are manufactured in China. Because we, of the global majority, recognize that collective humanity has the ingenuity and creativity of one another to thank, whereas a lot of European Americans are laboring under the delusion that the rest of us have white people to thank. And it's this narcissistic ignorance that causes people like you to do embarrassing things, like leaving comments about Europeans and cell phones on a video about systemic anti-black in the United States. And while that could be written off as a comedic and senile non sequitur, we recognize it as a desperate attempt to center yourself in a conversation that has nothing to do with you. The irony being that white people like to say not all white people and they shouldn't be held accountable for the misdeeds of their ancestors, yet they want to be associated with the greatness of the things that they think they invented.
The way she's gathering them calmly and eloquently busting their bubbles, coming in with the facts and educating, I'm here for it. The tides are turning and they are turning fast and everybody's seeing their BS and calling it out. Not only can we even see this BS, we can smell it because this BS reeks. It has been reeking for centuries now. Unsurprisingly, it's hard for them to believe or accept what's happening right now, but quite frankly, it's the inevitable. These folks lie to themselves so much to the point where they believed their lies. So now that people are coming out with the truth and revealing history that they would rather stay hidden, they don't know how to react because the very idea of their false superiority that they have held on to for hundreds of years now is being shattered in front of their eyes, and there is absolutely nothing that they can do about it because the truth is the truth. My favorite quote has become the saying, nothing lasts forever. It's going downhill very fast for these folks. In Nigeria, we have this saying in Pidgin that goes, when breeze blow, fowl yansh go open. If I should closely translate that to English, it would be, there is nothing hidden under the sun. Back breeze shadow they blow, and we are witnessing the fowl yansh open in real time.
Oh boy. So, John Michael Kohler was an American who invented the bathtub in 1883. But let's think about this critically. Do you really think that nobody took a bath until John Michael Kohler invented the bathtub in 1883? Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? So what he was talking about is the fact that Africans introduced bathing and the concept of personal hygiene to Western Europe in order to build a healthier society during the 800-year occupation of Spain. In particular, a man by this name introduced the practices of bathing, shaving, and using toothpaste, as well as drastically improving the eating habits of Western Europeans. Additionally, the first recorded history of people taking baths was in India in 500 BC. A lot of us have gotten used to how little history some people like you know, particularly where it comes to anything not Eurocentric. However, I have a tip. Before you make a comment like this, do a quick Google search for whatever you think the topic at hand is. In this case, who invented bathing or who introduced bathing to Europe, and then decide whether you still want to make this comment.
The fact that this commenter is desperately holding on to, oh, we created bathtub, don't take it away from us, we did that. I'm just here like, these folks don't even bathe like that though. There is a plethora of videos online of them admitting to the fact that they don't bathe like that.
I don't say we avoid bathing, but we bathe very rarely.
Oh my God, I'm so happy that you're talking about this.
She didn't have a bath for like 5 months.
her life.
Yeah, like we didn't bathe her for the first whole part of her childhood. And like now we basically bathe her if she asks for it because it's fun or she's
Really
exceptionally dirty.
We really wanted to keep her skin microbiome as healthy and intact.
Now that you guys are saying this, that makes a lot of sense to just like let it be. And I feel like as a mother too, you have intuition to know when they need a bath.
Everybody knows it's that time of the month again where baby Indy gets his monthly shower.
So how do you invent something that you don't even use? And these folks have the caucasity to talk about how we are dirty. In Africa, we bathe 2-3 times a day.
I'm not going to do it.
Well, you're just anti
I'm not
leg
black.
washes.
I'm not going to wash my legs and feet.
You think that's just a black people thing?
Clearly.
Well, and he's
The only one here who took the day off washes his legs and feet. No, I don't think it's a black thing. I think using a washcloth is for poor people, but I don't think that washing your legs and feet is for black people.
I agree. I think the washcloth is a poor person thing. Because
I've only met poors who use them.
And this right here, guys, is the superior race. Every day they shock us on the internet. Imagine saying a tool for cleaning up is for poor people. He mentioned washcloths, but in Africa we use sponge. We bathe before going to bed, wake up in the morning, bathe again, even though you spent the last couple of hours sleeping on the bed and you did nothing. You still have to bathe in the morning. Then in the afternoon, if we come home, we bathe. In the evening, again, before going to bed, we bathe, and we do that every single day. Watching these people so proudly talking about their lack of hygiene is something.
Hey friends, it's late and I'm tired. Could somebody else please tell this commenter how backwards they've got it? That the medieval ages was something that happened specifically in Europe. It didn't happen around the world because Europe was not doing very well after the fall of the Roman Empire. And that's not to say that there weren't great things that happened in Europe between the 4th and 15th century, but there are large portions of the European population that without the intervention of non-white people like the Moors, who taught them to not sleep with their animals, not drink stagnant water, and practice hygiene, would have been wiped out by the plague. So it's really more that white people needed non-white people to pull them out of the medieval ages. And then given what some European countries started doing in the 15th century, some of us don't think it was the right decision. Okay, I'm going to bed.
You know,
Thanks.
sometimes I wonder, I really think about it, like, what would the world have looked like right now? What kind of a world would we have been living in right now if we had just left them the F alone and let the plague do whatever the plague wanted to do?
I do get labeled woke by the wrong people a lot, but that is actually really easy for me to ignore because it's kind of funny for several reasons. The first of which is, as you said, the whole woke mind virus thing is BS. The other thing is the people who would use woke as an insult tend to be the people that woke is not for. The concept of wokeness having originated with Marcus Garvey and the term woke having been appropriated from black people, when white conservatives call me woke as an insult, it's just funny because it's not for them to call anybody woke. The other thing is that wokeness is only an insult to them. It's not an insult to me. When black people say that I'm woke, that's a high honor. So white conservatives do it because it's the only way that they have to dismiss the things that I say that they don't like, because it is well informed and it is important and it's about dismantling white supremacy culture, and they don't like that. If they were agreeing with me, then I would have to be worried. And the other thing that's weird to me is, what does it say about a group of people who think that woke is a bad thing, who take pride in being asleep? And their pride in ignorance and narrow-mindedness does show. So as I tend to tell them, if you're going to take pride in your ignorance, don't pretend like you know something.